Good afternoon, Namibia, and welcome to your daily lunchtime show where we get to catch up on current events and headlines that are in the news. My name is Priska Agnolo, and thank you so much for joining us today on this wonderful Tuesday afternoon. So, do stay tuned as we update you on what's happening across the country, including the confirmation that the Delta variation of the coronavirus is definitely active among us. Sticking to COVID-19 news, Namibia by Sunday reported a cumulative total of more than 98,000 cases of COVID-19 since the local detection of the virus in 2020. Of these cases, 25,303 were still considered as active. Fatalities rose to almost 1,700, and the overall recovery rate stood at 73%. Active cases in the district of Windhoek number more than 14,000, which is close to 60% of the national total. The Commerce region's recovery rate was 59%. Recovery rates for each region are shown in yellow in our monitor. Other large groups of active cases are located in the regions of Irongo, with more than 3,000, as well as Omusati and Oshodonjupa, where active cases were more than 1,000 each. Overall, less than 2% of people who contracted COVID-19 have died due to this illness, or in combination with other comorbidities. Death rates are, however, higher than the average in the Irongo, Hardap, Ohangwena, Omaheke, Oshodonjupa, and Zambezi regions. Less cases are being reported daily, but this is mostly due to the lesser numbers of tests being done. On average, more than 40% of all tests still yield positive results, which means we are definitely not out of the woods yet. Please do protect yourself and others and do get vaccinated. And now heading into our video news segment for today, looking at our first video. Ohangwena hosted their State of Region address virtually, with Governor Walde Ndiyashiva addressing numerous points, including the establishment of an anti-corruption task force and the 8 constituencies to receive new health centers. Tunohole Mungoba was there.
Governor Valden Devashia hosted the virtual Ohangwena Region State of Region address on Friday and spoke on the anti-corruption task force which was established in the region to help mitigate against corruption and crime against humanity. This is what he had to say.
Structures at regional and local authority level to ensure timely, fairness, transparency, and accountability in the acquisition of public works, goods, and services. Therefore, I urge all prospective contractors and service providers to deliver as per contractual agreements to ensure timely delivery of service in order to improve the livelihood and quality of life of our people. On the 20th of May 2020, I unveiled the strategic development roadmap, which has been serving
And now for our second video. Rundu Town Council has written a letter to the Urban and Rural Development Ministry for the local authority to procure the services of a company willing to upgrade the town's dumping site, which is in a bad state. The local authority has availed 3 million Namibian dollars for this project. Kenya Kamboe reports.
This is just outside the road dumping site. As you can see, waste piling up.
Rundu Town Council has written a letter to the Urban and Rural Development Ministry for the local authority to procure the services of a company willing to upgrade the town's dumping site, which is currently in a deplorable state. The local authority has availed 3 million for this project. The works to be done include the construction of a gate and the regravelling of the road to the dumping site. Apart from the dumping site being in a sorry state, the streets of the town are a filthy eyesore where residents have opted to dump their refuse next to the side of the road.
It's just outside the dumping site, not inside. As you can see now, people are sorting out waste. These are members of the community. It's very dirty. You can see no fence on the other side. See, there's a dumping site. The office dilapidated.
And now for our third and last video for today. On behalf of the striking Walvis Bay fishermen, their spokesperson Samuel Kondo is accusing the Namibia United Fishermen Association chairperson Matthew Lungameni of fraud. The group of disgruntled fishermen are saying that they are not happy with the way he is handling their affairs. Lungameni, on the other hand, said that he will not indulge in rumors and will remain the association chairperson unless elected otherwise. Leandria Mowers reports.
We are the steering committee which is elected by the fishermen to represent them, to replace the old steering committees for allegations of misusing of funds which is contributed by the fishermen. We found out that a lot of cash that we have been contributing did not reach the bank account, and luckily we have invoices to prove. So we came to the police for them to assist, and we were told that it's not a criminal case, it's a civil case that we are taking up with our legal team. So on the 31st of May, we gave petition to Matthew Lungameni to step down, hand over the documents and the office key of the association's office that he refused to do. Our documents, our ID copies are being kept there in the office, and they relocated in the middle of the night on the 31st. Our names has been used at various places that without our consent. We were at the Kusebmont Police Stadium yesterday for them to assist us. That did not bear any fruit. So we are now going to take it up with our legal teams. So, and we will notify on the due course.
And now we take a look at the front pages of our daily newspapers for today. Namibian Sun reveals that at least 3 senior officials will be leaving the Ministry of Finance at the end of this month, namely the long-serving Executive Director Erika Shafuda, the ministry spokesperson Tonateni Shidudu, as well as Penda Itindi, an economic advisor to the Minister Ipumbushimi. The newspaper says it understands that Itindi is moving to the Ministry of Agriculture, although he was not available for comment yesterday. Meanwhile, Shafuda is expected to join the World Food Programme in August. According to Republica's lead story, the Ministry of Health and Social Services will do further testing elsewhere in the country to determine the current spread of the Delta variant of the coronavirus. Test results have shown the presence of the Delta variant in almost all of the 18 samples from the Khomas region taken during May and June. The Delta variant is considered more transferable than most other variants of concern. The report also says current numbers of infections indicate that the third wave of the pandemic has not reached its peak yet. Allgemeine Zeitung reports that the body of former politician Professor Mburumba Kerina, who died of COVID last month, was not allowed to be buried as planned in the Ovaherero Cemetery in Okahanja. The funeral of the former SWAPO co-founder was scheduled for Sunday morning, but was finally banned on Saturday evening. A judicial ban was obtained by the traditional grave that we are still on the front pages, and as I was currently saying, according to Allgemeine Zeitung, let's continue with the story. The funeral of the former SWAPO co-founder was scheduled for Sunday morning, but was finally banned on Saturday evening. A judicial ban was obtained by the traditional Herero Authority, which repealed a previous agreement which would have provided for a burial at the resting place for particularly important Nama and Herero. The reason for Saturday's cancellation was that the only available grave that Karina's funeral was awarded has been reserved for the Ovaherero boss, Bekui Rukoro, who died just 4 days after Karina. The Namibia names 2 senior officials in the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism as prominent figures in a company whose fishing license was terminated in June after complaints from the National Sea Operations Regulator and the Hague Association. 3 of the directors of the company, named Omukokoli Fishing, are also directors in Omaulu, a company implicated in the fish shot scandal. Omukokoli Fishing is accused of continuously harvesting fish they were not permitted to catch. New Era leads with the Health Ministry's renewed warnings to the public to remain vigilant in their safety measures against the deadly and fast-spreading Delta variant of the coronavirus. Confirmation of the Delta variant's presence in the country was obtained yesterday when it was detected in 17 out of 18 samples analyzed by the University of Namibia. Let's go for a quick ad break and we'll be And now we look at the inside pages of our newspaper dailies. From the Kavango East region, the Namibian Sun reports that National Police Chief Lieutenant General Sebastian de Tunga has been given 15 days to respond before the youth of Mukwe and surrounding villages take the law into their own hands. The recent turmoil follows the discovery of the body of Mukuve Kanyanga, a 22-year-old student at the UNAM Rundu campus who went missing during mid-June. His body was found a week later floating on the Okavango River. The youth have accused shebeen owners of being behind a string of mysterious killings. Republican reports on the collaboration that resulted in the erection of a dedicated COVID-19 field hospital next to Windhoek Central Hospital. The Namibia breweries contributed $1.8 million Namibian to the field hospital of 70 beds, which is due to be completed by the 18th of July. Meanwhile, heaps of damaged hospital beds that could not be used by state hospitals have been taken to a repair shop in Windhoek. According to Allgemeine Zeitung, British billionaire Harvey Bolter approached the High Court in Windhoek to appeal against the verdict in which he was denied bail. Bolter, who was accused of the murder of his farm manager Gerhard van Wyk in February this year, has indicated he is prepared to pay a bail amount of 200,000 Namibian dollars. The trial of that appeal was postponed until Thursday. Magistrate Emmanuel Unjumbala rejected Bolter's formal bail application in the Ocho Magistrates Court on May 11th. He remains in custody. MarketWatch looks into the Namibia Statistics Agency, reporting a significant increase in the amount of electricity that the country exported from neighboring Zambia and South Africa during the month of May 2021, while the local production showed a decrease. New Era's story clarifies the tourism regulations that are applicable during the current COVID-19 measures until the 15th of July. No travel restrictions will be applicable to international tourists once they comply with the provisions outlined in the protocols. Tourists are required to present a valid negative PCR test result not older than 7 days upon entry into Namibia. Tourists are not required to be retested for COVID-19 after the expiry of 7 days of the initial negative test, unless the tourist experiences symptoms during their stay. And finally, the president of the Namibian National Olympic Committee, Mr. Abner, has claimed World Athletics went behind their backs and broke the confidentiality agreement over the handling of star athletes Beatrice Maselingi and Christine Boma. Mr. Abner called the World Governing Body for the unacceptable and grossly disappointing invasion of the athletes' right to privacy and to the confidentiality of their health records. The NNOC boss added that Namibia will look to ally with nations whose athletes have been similarly marginalized by World Athletics in order to contest their ban from competing in the 400 meters at the upcoming Olympics. And with that, we have finally come to the end of today's show. Thank you so much for watching and supporting us. And do stay tuned for a quick snapshot of the weather as well. Goodbye.